Absolutely.
We don't want to set like a judgment tone in a workforce.
Right.
Oh, we don't feel like they're grieving enough or they're not grieving the right way. I think, like you've already stated, it's very important to have open dialogue and communication to work and talk to those people that are maybe experiencing that.
Exactly. And one of the things that I, tell people is, don't be afraid to build the memories. Build memories of the loss, the person that you've lost. Build those memories and share those memories with coworkers, and talk about it in a positive way, because that can help.
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
just what we've experienced this week at WCTE, I mean, we've done that. And I can
Absolutely.
find myself feeling so much better after
Absolutely.
kind of having some of that camaraderie and fun, just memory piece.
Oh, it can-
because you're not going to change it.
No,
So-
it can make all the difference
Yeah.
in the world, really.
And
Absolutely.
I think, so, have you found, I mean, how have you felt grieving has worked best for you? I mean, do you have one way that you grieve over another that you might want to share?
Well, I just I try to go back and remember the good things. As I told you before, I had a brother who was killed in a car accident in 1971, and that was a very tough thing to take, but we dealt with it. And now I go back and I remember a lot of the fun times that we had.
That was before Facebook.
And that was well before Facebook
Right.
there. So it's just with my brother, my mother, my father. It's just remembering those good times,
Right.
and that's what I dwell on, are those good
Right.
memories.
And honoring the memories.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
kind of taking in what they've left and
Absolutely.
Because you took in you had a new
oh.
added family there.
Oh
for a
gosh,
little bit, so-
absolutely. 3 young babies that my brother left that
Yeah.
we had to help raise. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I could see where there would be some comfort in that. You're close to your brother, and
Oh, it
things like
helped.
that.
It helped bring our family closer together.
Yeah.
It really did.
Isn't that funny how that
Oh,
works
gosh.
sometimes? Loss is very hard, and we hope you will stay tuned. We've got some more information coming your way. Dr. Kathy Bertram's going to be here to talk about dying and grief, and maybe some of the emotions that may go along with that. And again, we want to contribute this episode of Live at 5 to Seth Stanger, who we recently lost here at our family at WCT. So please stay tuned.
Ford Lincoln of Cookeville and Better Cookeville is proud to present Hoot Before the Shoot, July 4th at 6 p.m. A live virtual concert featuring Jake Hoot, Smoky Nights, and the voices Alex Guthrie. Enjoy exclusive interviews throughout the concert. Stay tuned for Red, White, and Boom from Cookeville, a fireworks presentation only on WCTE PBS. This broadcast concert is made possible by Better Cookeville, Tennessee Tech University, Ford Lincoln of Cookeville, WCTE PBS, and the following sponsors.
Welcome back to Live at 5. Thank you for staying with us today. This is Live at 5 WCTE, and today we're talking about loss and grief and how that can impact our lives, our very organized life, right, Kathy?
That is so true.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy. Dr. Kathy Bertram here with us today. Thank you for joining us.
I'm delighted to be here. This is such an important topic. We're all going to die at some point, and our family members, grief is such an important part of our lives because we all lose somebody.
Yes. And I mean, in your profession, I mean, you probably counsel a lot of people.
I do.
on
I see
grief.
this so often, and I try to talk to people to start thinking about what they want at the end of their own lives and talk to their family members about it, because it's so important. It seems to be a taboo subject for many of us, and it shouldn't be. We're all going to go through it, so we
Right.
might as well.
In 100 years, where will we be?
Yeah, that's right. And we've got to talk about it and let our family
Yeah.
members know
Absolutely.
what we want at the end of our lives. Now, Seth had such a sudden death that he probably hadn't thought to talk about it a whole lot, and that makes it really hard.
I think-
Really hard for you all and for his
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, I think so. I think anytime you have family and there's a loss, whether it's your work family or whether it's your family or
Absolutely.
friends, I mean, I think, being together is helpful. I found this week to be very comforting to be with my coworkers and remember all those good times.
All the good times. You know, in reaching out to people is so important, and it's such a hard thing right now because we have the COVID virus, which is so real and so important that we have to wear masks and we have to socially isolate,
Yes, I have
and you
mine.
can't give each other hugs. You know, I had my mask on right until I came in front of this microphone, and so it is
Yes.
terribly important that we do this, but it makes it so much harder for grief because we need that human touch. We need each other during that time. We have a lot of anxiety associated with grief, and it's just makes it so difficult that we can't reach out and actually have physical touch.
Right. I didn't know if you wanted to share with our viewers maybe some key things about anxiety and maybe things that they can do to kind of help ease some of that anxiety.
You know, anxiety is very different in each of us. Some of us have an underlying generalized anxiety disorder on a good day, and some of us don't seem to be bothered with it that much. So everybody's different. But I'll tell you what, one of the things that helps most with anxiety is to get out and exercise, get into the sun, and to eat a healthy diet. You know, comfort foods aren't exactly always the most healthy thing to be eating, and I know
So that bag of chips I
so
ate.
that bag of chips that you ate, you know, you just can't do that every day.
Okay.
You can give yourself the bag of chips for a couple of days, but then you got to go back to your
Right.
fresh fruits and veggies and,
Yes.
and good lean protein source.
And if someone is like doing those things and they're just not working, they just cannot seem, they find themselves in maybe a depression state, or we talked about therapy sometimes is a good
Sometimes therapy is a really, really good thing. Some people really need a way to organize their thoughts and work through it, and therapy is a really good way to do that. And there's good therapists in our community. Also, a support group can be really helpful. You know, talking to somebody that's been through it and been through it fairly recently, or even a long time ago, is extremely helpful.
Right. I know my daughter lost her dad at an early age, and Heart of the Cumberland is one resource we used here in Cookeville, and it was a peer-to-peer kind of support group. She was able to talk to other children the same age that was experiencing a loss, and I think that really made a big
Well,
difference for her.
that sounds really good. And you know, some of the churches in our community have support groups for grieving people. So you know, there are places that you can reach out to, and your family and your friends. You know, sometimes a good friend is a wonderful thing to have when you're trying to go through something like a loss.
It is. And so, if you're somebody that you know somebody that's lost, I mean, how do you reach out to them? I mean, is there a good way to connect with that person, or?
I mean, sometimes they just need to talk, so you just need to be listening, and you can kind of pick up on their cues as to what they need. It's just so important to be there. You know, we always say, I just don't know what to say, so I didn't call. Well, you know, you need to call. It's just so important.
Yep.
Take them out to lunch.
Yes.
Do
Talk about the weather.
well, we can't
right?
take them out to lunch right now, but
Yep.
but you could take them for a socially distanced picnic.
Well, the weather has been pretty nice.
It has been
so-
pretty nice. We've been very
And
fortunate.
sunshine makes us feel better, right?
Sunshine
There's something in-
absolutely does. So exercise, talk to friends, talk to family. You know, you can't give hugs right now, but you can be with people. You can go out in the backyard and stand 6 feet away from somebody.
Yep. Yes, I think so. And we've kind of seen a lot of that just this last week with our WCTE family. And we all grieve differently, and we found different ways that have comforted us. And I know our community, I mean, they've had a lot going on. I mean, starting in early March with the
Oh
tornado.
my goodness,
so
it's been so much.
it has been
Yeah.
a lot. And, you know, and then we have the COVID-19, and I'm sure you've maybe experienced some of that in your profession. And what happens when you're sick and in the hospital and nobody can visit?
And nobody can visit. That is
the
just
nursing
one of the
home.
most difficult things.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can visit their loved
Yeah.
ones in the hospital, the nursing home, even assisted living. So it's been very difficult.
Yeah, well, there's lots of resources in our community for people that may be experiencing grief. I encourage you, if you have some need, to reach out to the professionals, reach out to your social groups, and try to find some assistance. This is a very loving, caring community that we live in, and
We are so fortunate.
we are very fortunate, and I think that I think you might just find some ease in maybe the pain and suffering that you have, and we want to make sure that you get through this. So please stay with us. We'll be right back. So who's up next?
If you had any interaction with
Oh, perfect,
WCTE or
Daniel.
watched our programming
Come on, Daniel.
at all over the years, there's a good chance that Seth was involved in some aspect of it. Seth first volunteered at WCTE's Great TV Auction in 1987 as an 11-year-old. Remarkably, he only missed 1 year as a volunteer before he started working full-time for the station in 2012. With an eye for detail, Seth's talents included a gift for quality control, video editing, and production. He also served as a live production director, helping direct the filming of live events, making sure the crew were in positions to ensure a great show for our viewers. Our hearts are broken at having lost this integral member of the WCT family. Rest in peace, our friend. Seth Stain.
Welcome back to this Live at 5. I'm Avery Hutchins. I'm the Director of Development and Marketing here at WCT, and I'm just very happy to be here with you today as we talk about grief and loss in our community. As you know, and probably have been listening, WCT lost a beloved coworker this last week, Seth Stanger, and as a way to remember him and to honor him and to make a tribute to him, we dedicated today's show to Seth. And Daniel Duarte is here with me. Daniel, producer, director, what else? Graphic. What do you do here? Everything?
Everything and nothing.
Everything and nothing. Daniel Duarte, Tennessee Tornado, Putnam Strong, director, producer, documentarian. You're used to being behind the camera, but today you're in front of the camera because you have a special something you want to share with us.
Yeah, talk about Seth. It's really super easy because, pretty much any adjective that you can throw out there, if it's positive, it'll fit him. I remember the last 3 years, every single documentary that I've done, he's the QC person, which means quality controls. He's the first person that watch it to make sure that everything's okay. And normally after that, he will have like a huge list for me with things to correct because, there's 3 frames that needs to be adjusted here.
Right,
And
right.
that thing is over 2/4 of a second. And, that's the kind of meticulous mind he has. And so it's always caring and being helpful.
He's quality.
Yes.
Someone described Seth as having quality, and I think that really just sums it up in one word, is that he expected people to deliver and do what they say they were going to do and make sure that what was done was
Be perfect. Yes.
Well, Daniel, thank you. I think we have another special guest here and coworker of Seth Stanger's, Joy McCaleb.
Live TV.
Welcome back, Joy. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to be really quick here because we've got several people that want to say something, but you had a special memory of Seth.
I do, and I grew up with Seth, or Seth grew up with me through the Great TV Auction, and he really took ownership of that firehouse board, and I know so many folks out there who volunteer for all these years probably remember him from that Firehouse Board. He started out, of course,
Like
doing
a little guy, right?
doing a lot of jobs, but he really loved that Firehouse Board. And once he it would get started, he could really get in tune to the people who were yelling the prices at him and the numbers, and he'd be patting the places on the board that didn't have overbids because he wanted all of his boards to have overbids. But you could also find him later on. He would be behind the board preparing for the next one, and that's Seth. I think from experience of working with Seth all these years, I feel very sure that we're all going to see a lot of Seth throughout our public broadcasting for many years to come, because he was very attuned to getting things done and getting them done on time, and just a really, really good guy. And I know a lot of our volunteers will remember Seth.
Yeah. Yes, and I think so. I think, and Seth had a lot to contribute, and I think we will continue to see those attributes in each of us as we go about continuing WCT's mission. So I guess we're going to be right back here in just a second with our next special guest. We have Donna. So we've heard from Daniel, we've heard from Joy, and now we have Donna. Donna Matson, longtime volunteer, right? Before you became an employee.
Yeah, 30 plus years, I guess.
Wow. So you knew Seth on two levels, a volunteer and as a co-worker. And I know you have a memory you want to share.
I do. When I think of Seth, it was much like what Joy said. You think of the auction, the Firehouse Board. That was his. He owned it, and he did it with such grace. And then I remember one time I was going to ask a question about a document that I had, and I came in and I said, Seth, is this right, XYZ? And not only did he give me the answer to XYZ, but in that time, he proofread that entire document, circled grammar areas, spelling. He just had that gift to do that.
Was it in red?
Yes.
Okay.
He had a gift. So when I think of Seth, I think of the saying with Mr. Rogers, when it talks about the boy who was scared, and he said, hey, look for the helpers. Seth was that helper, and I'll always remember him.
Yeah. Donna, I think that's exactly it. Seth was our helper. Thank you.
Thank you.
WCTE wants to thank you for all of your support during the Great TV Auction. We couldn't do it without all of you and our volunteers who we missed this year. Thanks to your contributions, we made $70,000. Let's take a moment and look back and appreciate our volunteers over the years.
And thank you for everybody that shared their experiences with us. And Seth, he will forever be in our memory, our thoughts, our day-to-day activity. And Brent, he worked for you directly. So, I mean, I know
Yes.
you've experienced quite a bit just this last little bit.
Yes, we all have in production, as well as everybody in the station, of course. But what a great loss. And, they say everybody's replaceable, but he's going to be really hard to replace.
I think so. And I know we have some quotes here that we want to share with everybody. I think we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
That's the end. Oh, we did.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Some quotes we have from Facebook. Let me read one, Avery. Seth always helped us on the Heavenly Board when we needed it. He was a team player, always had a smile no matter what was happening. Well,
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. Here's another one. I always looked forward to his smile each day at the station.
Yep. Another one was Seth's attention to detail was evident when he was a sixth grader in my class at Capshaw. He was a gentle, kind young man.
Yeah.
And he was.
There was another one, the quietest, kindest, and most hardworking soul I've ever known. And I have to second that one. I'm not sure who wrote that, but I totally agree with them. Seth was that person. He would be here at the beginning, and he would be here at the very end.
Yes, he was.
So I think we have maybe time for one more.
Right. I'll never forget his professionalism and kindness.
Oh, I think that's a great one to end
Yes.
on. So I think we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.